Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and in today's video I'm going to be doing my final election prediction for the Georgia runoff elections. Both races, I'm going to cramp them into one video. This is probably going to be around 20, probably more minutes long, but I think I'm going to give you the best analysis that I have in a while. So, since November 3rd, we haven't really had any big elections to talk about, but this is going to be the biggest one for, at least 10 months until we have Virginia and New Jersey gubernatorial elections, but that's a long time. Uh, whatever. Let's not go off on a tangent. But so starting off, I'm going to start off with the special election between Raphael Warnock and Kelly Loeffler because, spoiler alert, I don't think it'll be as close as the Ossoff versus Perdue race. So, yeah. So the results are a little wacky because there were essentially two Republicans running and one Democrat, but the full Georgia results, if I can pull this up for here it is. So, view all candidates. Raphael Warnock got the most votes, so 33% of the vote, followed by Kelly Loeffler, and those two advanced to the runoff. We all know how that works. But Doug Collins got nearly 1 million votes. Deborah Jackson, Matt Lieberman, and Tamara Johnson-Shealy all got over 100,000 votes. They were all Democrats. James Jones, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, also got close to 100,000 votes. We had some other minor candidates. Ed Tarver was another one who I knew. So that was essentially it. So as you can see, these are the results. These look better. So there was some vote splitting. So Warnock won a few counties that, he obviously wasn't going. Like some of the more 10 to 15 point GOP counties he ended up winning because of vote splitting, like Henry County or not Henry County. That's a blue county. Fayette County is one, for example, that he won by 2%, but he only got 32% of the vote, as you can see. So yeah, just wanted to clear that up for those of you who don't know. Warnock did not win a lot of these counties. He didn't win, he didn't win Mitchell County. That's a solid Republican county. So yeah, now we're going to analyze a few results, starting with, I'm probably pronounced his name wrong, Lakashia Jane. His model, Lakashia Jane, yeah, I follow him on Twitter. You should absolutely follow him on Twitter. So, actually has a model, and I'm not going to look at it too much, but I'm just going to share some other people's predictions. He actually has the Democratic Party winning the both Georgia runoffs by 4.5%. So he has the Democrats winning here, and he has them flipping a few counties, including Dooley County. I also believe that he does have them flipping a few. Where was it? He actually posted on Twitter, but yeah, I know he has them flipping Dooley County. We'll talk with Dooley County. I think Dooley County is an incredibly interesting county because of the turnout patterns going on there. We'll get into that. But so he essentially has the Democrats winning here by 4.5%. So yeah. So here's his recap. His final race rating is lean Democratic, and we will not be moving it from this regardless of any other EV. I'm not sure what that is. Developments. I would say electoral vote, but it doesn't make any sense for the context. I don't believe the data favors Republicans at all, but I'm not as comfortable publicly moving a race beyond lean given the assumptions of the model. He's right about this. You don't want to, jump and be like, this is likely Democrat, or safe Democrat, or because he's saying it's going to go to the Democrats. But I think lean Democrat for his model is smart. So yeah. So just going to read this threats. That's not really. He just says he stands by what he says. Secondly, he also asked what does turnout look like, and the answer is we don't know. But here are the important tweets. Secondly, it is important that election day skews more heavily Republican, 61 to 39. Sure, how much? I don't know. I think the GOP would need a borderline miracle to hit the threshold needed right now. That's assuming our models EV early vote as it is split assumptions hold, and they might break. Okay, let's see what else. So essentially, he does quote one article that has both these races as lean Republican because they are assuming super high, 1.5 million voters on election day, and yeah, like he says, the Democrats right now have a 370,000 vote lead according to his calculations. It's probably it could be a little higher, could be a little lower, but we're going to talk about that in a second. So let's assume that the Democrats right now have a 370,000 vote lead in Georgia. That's very hard to erase in here, and 1.5 million votes is a lot, and that's essentially the amount the GOP would need to net 370,001 votes, because obviously the GOP isn't going to win every single election they vote. They're going to have to win it by at least 370,000 votes. So yeah. And like he says, that Republicans could still certainly win. Spoiler alert, they absolutely can still win. But you're kidding yourself if you think that this is a position they want to be in. Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue, I don't think they want to be in this position. And in fact, back in November, I said that these are both likely or lean, bordering on likely Republican races. Then, I moved it down to, tilt, then toss up, and this is going to be my final prediction. So, yeah, like I said, they're not in a good position right now. If they do win, this is interesting. One of these two things happened. Election day, they saw super high turnout. So, yeah, essentially November, but they did better than November. And the assumptions made by our model, but turnout / early vote splits are slightly off, and just enough to tip the scales in the GOP's favor. I actually trust him in this one. So because they're doing demographic, assumptions, taking a look at the black share of the electorate, for example, and we'll take a look at that later. Both these could happen, and both these things are possibilities you should keep in mind, and they're certainly plausible ones, if not scenarios that I find likely by any means. Lean is not safe after all, so just because he has it as lean Democrat does not mean the Republicans can't win. This is what people, I put Georgia as lean Republican. I said the Republicans were favored. I was wrong, but I didn't say the Democrats couldn't win there. So, yeah, here, hold on, what's this? Let's see. But, yeah. So, essentially, that's it. I just wanted to read through that thread by Lakashia Jane. Lakashia Jane, there we go. So, my apologies, I pronounced that incorrectly. But I think you should go follow him. He's a great... he's really, I think he does honest, he's very straightforward and upfront about how he works his model. He published it for all of us to see, and I think that it is, I absolutely trust him. Now, Evan Scrimshaw, who I know does not like me very much because I told him that Texas would go red this year, says, he actually quoted this article that I'm going to quote a bit. I read through it. It's not that good. Someone mentioned me and they were like, "Hey, what do you think of this article? This is why the Republicans are to win." I don't remember replying, but it's an interesting article. It was written all right, but I don't think their data points are correct. So I actually agree with Evan Scrimshaw here. He says, "I'll preface this by saying that I respect them for taking a side, saying a toss-up is cowardice, and I would say a toss-up if I could, but we're not going to do that for this video." However, said that 1.5 million votes on Election Day was anything more than the distant slim possibility, which it is, was either lying or an idiot. So we've come to the consensus. This is how many votes the Republican Party needs on Election Day. They need at least 1.45 million votes, but they're probably looking at 1.5 million. That's their target for Election Day. So now we understand their target, we can start getting into these races. So right now, 3 million people have voted, just over that. 3,032,000 people, actually. So they essentially need 1.5 million more votes. Now, in the general election, let's go to the general election, there were 5 million votes, 4.8 million votes cast. So the GOP is counting on turnout nearly like less than 300,000 votes less than what actually happened on Election Day. It's possible, but like Evan Scrimshaw says on Twitter, it's a very distant possibility. So it can happen. I'd say that there's maybe like a 1 in 5 chance of that happening, if that, maybe 1 in 7 or something. It's a possibility, but I wouldn't bet on it. And like I said, the Republicans are not favored. So we're going to take a look at the demographics for the early votes. So 56% of these people are white. What's 1.6 million? Now, that's down from the general election because 57% of those people were white in the general election. So 1% swing towards and I'm going to say towards the Democrats, because if you want to look at exit polls, which I really don't want to waste my time on, because we know that black people are Democrats and white people are Republicans for the most part. Just taking a look at race, let's go to race. I might have to hold on. Okay, here we go. Let's go to race. Donald Trump won the white vote by 17%. Joe Biden won the black vote by 85%. So we're going to assume that the majority of the solid majority of the white vote is going to go for David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. An even bigger majority of the black vote is going to go for of course I forgot their names. Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. My apologies. So the black vote is also 31% of the electorate is black. Compare that to 27.8% of the electorate was black when Joe Biden won the state. So the electorate is blacker than it was in November, less white, and I think there's slightly greater percentage of other. So I guess you could say it's good news for the Democrats because the Republicans win the white vote. The Democrats generally do better with the rest, I guess you could say. I mean, let me just see. Yeah, they only won the white vote, really. The Hispanics in Georgia are pretty Democratic, so are Asians, and other was Democratic as well. So that share of the vote is up as well. So, yeah. Now, let's just very briefly do gender. I think gender has stayed somewhat constant. The female share of the electorate is up, and the male share of the electorate is down. So let's actually go back to exit polls. And that is good news for Democrats. Females vote Democrats a bit more than males do. Let's go to exit polls again. I just want to see gender. Yes, it's right there. Donald Trump won the male vote by 8%. Joe Biden won the female vote by 15%. So, like I said, Democrats win the female vote. That's down. I believe that the 18 through 29% vote. Let me just make sure this is the runoff. Yeah, it is. I believe that has gone down a little bit. And obviously that's a big voting block for Democrats, but it's offset by their gains with race and gender, especially with the black vote and with the female vote. They're doing very well. And I think the 65 plus vote is up a little bit. So the age vote is interesting to see, and I think that's one bad sign for Democrats, but there are a lot of good signs. Now, I actually should have pulled up this tweet, but the plurality of people who didn't vote in the general election but did vote in the Georgia runoffs, it's like 110,000 of them or something like that. The plurality of them are younger voters, so we don't necessarily know. And a lot of these younger voters maybe didn't vote in the general election. So, yeah. Now, let's take a look. I really don't. Okay, so we'll be done with this. But let's take a look at the congressional district turnout. We're just going to pull up a house map of Georgia. For those of you who don't know the house results, you probably don't have them memorized by heart. Like, it doesn't really matter. I know I don't have every house district memorized by heart, but we're just going to pull it up so I don't make any mistakes, and so that you guys just can absolutely be 100% sure that I know what I'm talking about, or that I'm being accurate here. I don't want to accidentally click on one of these tabs because it's going to reveal my prediction, part of it. So, yeah. So, taking a look first at the 1st congressional district, which has the highest turnout, 72% of 2020 election turnout. So that's pretty good turnout. The 1st district, let's find the 1st district. No, it's not that. It's one of these. I know it's one of these. Hold on. Where is it? Okay, it'll be embarrassing if I can't find the 1st district of Georgia, because I am aware. Okay. Really, okay, here it is. So, here we go. Let's pull it up. This is congressional district. Hold on. Oops. My bad. So I forgot to sort them, which is why I was like, wait a minute. So, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, let's not do that. So here we go. So, okay, which those are we to rank it? So, starting off with the highest turnout district, that's the 4th district. 83% of 2020 election voters have voted in the 4th district. Where's the 4th district? I know it's a Democratic district. Okay, it's a 80% Democratic district, so very blue. That's the highest turnout. So that's one blue district that has super high turnout. Let's find another one. 81.3% of voters in the 5th district. Where's the 5th district? It's another Democratic. That's where Atlanta is. That's another very Democratic district. So we've got 2 Democratic districts. I don't need that up. Where's another one? Let's find. I think they're 77%. The 2nd district. That's this one. That's another. It's not as Democratic as the other ones, but it's still a D+18 district or something like that. So yeah, that's another Democratic district. So we've got these 2. Here's an the 6th district is pretty Democratic. It's not solid Democratic, but it was a D+9.2 district this year. So as we see, all these high turnout districts are Democratic. I could keep going, but I'll show you the lowest turnout district, the 14th district, 69% of those votes, and that is Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. That was an open seat. Where's the 14th district? Here it is. Marjorie Taylor Greene. She won this year by like 50%. So yeah, it's not good news for the Republicans that they're not turning out, really. So yeah, that is a very bad sign for the Republicans. Now, let's start to analyze and actually get into our race details. We've analyzed the facts, and the facts that the early votes favor the Democrats. So starting with the betting odds for Raphael Warnock and Kelly Loeffler. So right now, Raphael Warnock is favored to win. And they're essentially saying that he has a 40. My bad. They're essentially saying that he has a 57% chance of winning. So 57 on the dollar, meaning that that's kind of what he is. I'm not actually great with predicted. I don't obviously do betting, but so he's favored, as you can see here. He's actually gone up. And remember, like Kelly Loeffler was favored, just not even that long ago. And then started closing the gap. They started closing the gap then on New Year's Eve. I think that on my brother's birthday, December 30th. Raphael Warnock took the lead. So Warnock has maintained his lead pretty consistently, and I think he's going to maintain his lead unless something changes tomorrow. So, yeah, Warnock is favored, and I think that he'll have high enough here. Yeah, I better make sure this is the right tab. And I think that he'll have high enough black turnout from Fulton County, for example, and the surrounding areas that are black. There are some suburban counties as well that we'll talk about, but these surrounding areas that are mainly black, I think he'll have high enough turnout there. And I think it'll be really good. Savannah is the one area that has a bit lower turnout, but the good news for Democrats is that they're actually sending help there because they're like, Savannah better have high turnout, and they are and I think Kamala Harris is going there or Barack Obama, so they're trying to get a turnout operation on election day. So yeah, I think Savannah is kind of a warning sign for Democrats, but it's not really a big issue considering all the warning signs for Republicans, especially because it's been leaked that apparently the Republican strategists in Georgia think that they're going to lose both these races. But again, we always hear that. We always hear some rumblings from inside the campaign that they're going to lose, but whatever. So yeah, now there are two county flips from the presidential election, I believe. First, we're going to start off with Dooley County, which I think is interesting because it's 50.1% black or something, so it's essentially half black, which is like 10 points higher, 15 points higher than the state as a whole. So it's more black than the state. It is also and also the white non-college educated voters there are having really bad turnout patterns in the county, which is a warning sign for Republicans. So I'm going to count on Dooley County flipping. You can come back when the election is over to see, whether I was right. But I think this is going to be a dark horse flip. No one's really talking about Dooley County, but I think Dooley County is going to flip. I think Warnock's going to win it by just over 2%. He's also going to flip. This is Burke County. I think he'll flip Burke County for the most part because he did well there in November. We've also seen the black population there growing. And I get that Biden did lose the county by like 3 or 4%, but I think that Warnock's high enough black turnout plus lower non-college educated turnout is going to have this county be tilt Democrats. So I do think that Raphael Warnock is going to do better in these areas. And just this area, people call it the Black Belt. For those of you who don't know, some people call it the Black Belt. It's generally an area with a lot of black voters. So I do think that Warnock is going to improve there. I think he's also going to improve in Fulton County, which is Atlanta. He's also going to improve in surrounding areas, except for a few suburban counties where Loeffler might do a little better than Trump. But I think everywhere else, other than a few suburbs, Loeffler is going to do a lot worse than Trump, especially in these rural areas that are going to have depressed turnout due to Linwood telling people not to vote, telling Republicans not to vote because it's rigged. Trump, saying that he came out yesterday and said that the Georgia runoffs were rigged. So that's going to depress pro-Trump turnout, and it's obviously going to hurt Republicans. So I do think that Raphael Warnock is going to win this seat. So that this is my – whoops, no, I don't want to show that. So I do think that Raphael Warnock is going to win the special elections. It's going to come down to the normal election, I guess you could say, or just election between David Perdue and John Ossoff. And I think – and I'll show you my final margin. I'll put in the description or pin it if I forget to put it in the description. But I think Warnock for those who are still listening right now, I think Warnock's going to win by 0.8%. I've done the calculations, but I think Warnock is going to win by around 0.8%. Wait, no, hold on. Okay, here, let me pull up the tab and pause my screen. Okay, so it appears I was wrong. So I actually have Warnock winning by 0.4%. So Warnock's going to win by 0.4%. That's my prediction. Warnock by 0.4%. There you go. So now moving on to the regular election, I guess you could say, between Jon Ossoff and David Perdue. So all you know is that it's going to be closer than 0.4%. That's what you know right now. So let's take a look at the betting odds here. And Jon Ossoff is making a big comeback. I mean, let's go 90-day, I guess. He was actually favored. The last time he was favored was on October 30th. And he fell down for some reason. He had 1 cent on November 3rd. I don't know why. But what scandal? Okay, whatever. I don't like that. But whatever. So what? I'm so confused. Okay, let's do both. Okay, there we go. So yeah, like I said, he actually fell for some reason on November 3rd. But he's been coming back. He had a low point on the 15th, and he'd been kind of staying in these 30 regions. But then he's been surging. He's now at 47% chance of winning. And 47 cents. And now apparently he's favored to win according to PredictIt. So I don't really know how to read PredictIt. I'm just going to tell you that Ossoff is favored because he has higher cents than Perdue. He's also surging in the betting odds, which should tell you a lot. And there are some reports coming out that Ossoff could actually run even with Warnock in areas like Fulton County in the surrounding majority black areas, as well as Berks County in this kind of belt of black voters. So, and as well as Savannah, because the areas where Democrats get their votes in Georgia obviously are black areas, or areas that have majority black population. So, yeah. Now that being said, I do think that Perdue is going to do a little better than Loeffler will in the suburbs because he was elected in 2014. Unlike Loeffler, who's never been elected, and he's also more unpopular than Loeffler. And I get the 2014 was a red wave year, but Michelle Nunn was a decent candidate. I mean, when you look at her debate performance, Perdue for some reason does poorly in debates. I mean, he had that bad moment against Ossoff where he kind of stood there and let Ossoff call him a crook. And then 2014, he got a lot of people angry when he, didn't answer questions but minimum wage. And his opponent Michelle Nunn called him out for that. So, like I said, it's going to depend on, I think, for this election between Ossoff and Perdue, I made my prediction between Warnock and Loeffler. It's going to depend on how well Perdue does in the rural areas. If they don't come out for him to a point where he doesn't have enough rural support to overcome his where he's going to get beat up in Fulton County, for example, or these majority black areas that are going to go for Ossoff and Warnock by big margins. If he can do that, if he can do almost as good as Trump did in these rural areas, he can win this election. If not, he's going to lose. So we essentially have a similar map for Ossoff and Perdue. I believe that they each have their own different counties that they win. For example, I'm trying to find it. Hold on. So, whoops. Okay, I forgot to fill in the county for Raphael Warnock. They all win the same counties except for Berks County, which I think Ossoff is going to narrowly lose. I think he's going to lose it by less than 1%, and Warnock's going to win it by 1%. Perdue is going to do better in the suburbs over here because this is kind of near. This is near Augusta, I believe, so it's somewhat suburban, but he'll do a little better. Or Perdue's going to do a little better than Loeffler in these suburban areas, and I think Ossoff's going to run maybe a couple votes, and I mean literally a couple votes behind Warnock, with these black votes because he doesn't have the same appeal to Warnock because Warnock is black. And we've seen in the past that Democrats do better when they run black candidates in the South. For example, that's just a fact. It's called identity politics, and I don't like identity politics, but it's how it works, unfortunately. So I think the only county that Ossoff's going to lose that Warnock's going to win is going to be Burke County. So that's essentially it. So that's my county prediction for Ossoff versus Perdue. And I think Perdue is literally going to win this race by 0.2%. So there you go. That's my prediction. Perdue is going to win this race by 0.2%. But in the tilt column, I would leave this as a toss-up if I could. I really do think Ossoff is literally a 50-50 tie. I think Warnock has like a 52 or 53% chance of winning this race. I'm confident that I'm fairly comfortable putting it in the Tilt Warnock column, but I'm not as comfortable putting the Ossoff Perdue race in the Tilt Perdue column. I'm mostly doing this to account for the fact that I could be wrong on the Warnock race, and I want to have a bit of a, safety net in case that I am, reversing that, because I do have somewhat of a gut feeling that Ossoff's going to do better than Warnock. I don't know why. The analytics tell me otherwise, but whatever. I'm just doing this as a result of, I think, Perdue doing a little better with the Trump vote than Loeffler will, because he was elected once before. And I think that some of these Trump voters who say they're going to boycott it are going to come home for Perdue and maybe not Loeffler. So that's it. I think Perdue's going to win very, very narrowly. I think he's going to win by literally like a couple thousand votes, probably 6,000 vote margin of victory. And I think Warnock's going to win by something more like a Biden-type victory in Georgia, maybe a little more than that. So that's essentially it, guys. Thanks for watching this video. This is going to be 25 minutes long, so it's 5 minutes off. But thank you all for watching this video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. And it'll be interesting to see. So if you live in Georgia, be sure to vote on January 5th if you have not already. Voted by mail or voted early. So thank you all for watching. Like I said, we got links in the description. I'm just going to stop talking. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.